Good day, everyone. Welcome to Maths with Dan. Here's a powerful question that we are going to be treating today, and we're having limit of a function and method of finding limit of a function. I write in the board. I said direct substitution, the manipulation method, the rationalization method, the factorization method, and the L'Hospital rules. So we have question given to us, and this question we are going to be using different method to get to our final answer. Are you with me? So let's start with question one. Question one says limit of x approaching minus 1 of a function x squared minus 1 and x minus 1. If you have not watched my previous video on limits, do well to watch it so you can have idea on it. Question one, let's go with question one. So question one says limit of x approaching minus 1 of a function x squared minus 1 over x minus 1, right? So we are going to ask ourselves what method and what rules that we are going to use to get our final answer. The first thing you are going to notice, if you notice that if you have minus 1, if you substitute it in this function, you are going to have an undefined function. Sorry, this is 1, not minus 1. 1, not minus 1. You will notice that you have an undefined function, like 1 minus 1 is going to give you 0, right? So you look at the rules you are going to use. You are going to use what we call the factorization method. So that's how we are going to arrive to our final answer. So we have limit of x approaching 1 of x squared minus 1. There's something we call the difference of two squares. That if a square plus b minus b square, a square minus b square is still the same thing as a plus b, open bracket, a minus b. This is an identity, right? So we are going to apply to the question, to the function given to us, which will say limit of x approaching 1 of x plus 1, right? This thing can also be written as x square minus 1 square, should have over x minus 1. So you have limit of x approaching 1, x square, x plus 1, right? And x minus 1 over x minus 1. Do you get? So because of this difference of two square, so you apply the identities of this tree, this algebra. So this is going to cancel this. You'll be left with x plus 1. So you are now going to have limit of x approaching 1 of x plus 1, which is the numerator, right? So you are going to substitute it directly. Then you are going to have what? 1 plus 1, which is equals to 2. So the limit of this function is going to give you what? 2, using the what? Factorization method. So we also have another question, which is number 2. Number 2. This is a simple question. You have limit of x approaching 1 and exponential s cubed minus x. Now, how do we do this? If you are to approach this, 1 minus 1 is going to give you 0, right? And exponential 0 will give you 1. Like you have you have 1 cube minus 1. And 1 cube is 1, right? 1 minus 1 is what? 0. You can also use the direct substitution. You can use the direct substitution for this, you get the same thing. So, but I don't want to use the direct substitution. I want to use what we call the L'Hospital rules. The L'Hospital rules is using differentiation to differentiate the numerator and the denominator to arrive at your final answer. So, actually, we are going to get one, and we are using the direct substitution. But in this case, I'm going to be using the L'Hospital rules, which I'm going to differentiate this function. This is a function e raised to the power of s cubed minus x. So let's differentiate. So we are going to have a limit of x approaching 1, then d over dx of this function s cubed minus x, right? So if you are to differentiate this, we are going to use what we call the chain rules. Using the chain rules, right? Because it has the power, and the power is what? S cubed minus x. So we are going to apply the chain rules because it is a what? It is an algebra. So what do we have? We are going to have, using the chain rules, right? So using the chain rules, we are going to say let u be equals to s cube minus x, right? So if you have to differentiate this function now, we are going to have du over dx will be equals to derivatives of s cube is what? 3x squared minus derivatives of x is what? 1. So this is the derivatives of this function. So now, since we have derived that, so we now have this function again, that y is equals to what? E raised to the power of, you know, we have said that this is equals to u. So we say y is equals to what? E raised to the power of u. So you differentiate this, that's dy over dx will be equals to what? Derivatives of dy over du, because you are differentiating with respect to u. Dy over du will be equals to what? E raised to the power of what? U. Say the same thing. Do you understand? Now, so we are now going to use the chain rules for you to get dy over dx. So dy over dx, which is still the same thing as d over dx, you are finding the derivatives of that function. Do you understand? So that's now we are dy over dx will be equals to what? Dy over du over dx times dy over du, right? So du over dx is what? 3x squared minus 1. Then dy over dx is what? E raised to the power of what? U. And you know that what's the value for u? The value for u is what? S cubed minus x. So you substitute it. You are going to have what? 3x squared minus 1 e raised to the power of what? S cubed minus x. Right? So this is the function you are going to have. So now we have our limit, and we know that this is our derivatives. So we are going to substitute the value for 1 in this equation. So what are we going to have? That's 3 open bracket 1 minus 1, right? So that's e raised to the power of s cube is what? That's 1 cube minus 1, right? So that will be 3 minus 1 is what? 2 e raised to the power of what? 0. And 2 e raised to the power of 0 is what? 2. So that's your final answer. Now that's for derivatives using the what? L'Hospital rules. Now what do we do again? We have the number 3 question, which says limit of t approaching 0 of this function. Number 3, we have limit of t approaching 0 of a function t squared plus 9, right? Minus 3 over t squared. Now, what do we do to this? We have this question, and whenever I give this question, if you substitute the value for 0 in this, you are going to have an undefined function. And I'm going to get an undefined function. You have to get a defined function. For a statement to be a defined function, the value of the denominator must not be equal to 0. Now, let's proceed. This is what we call the rationalization method. We are going to rationalize either the numerator or the denominator. So if you look at this place, we are rationalizing the numerator. Why? Because it has its root of in the numerator but not in the denominator. So that's the reason why we are rationalizing. And whenever you are rationalizing, you have to take the conjugate, either the numerator or the denominator. So we are taking the conjugate of numerator, which is plus. If this is minus, then the conjugate will be what? Plus. Right? So let's take the conjugate. Then we are going to have, now this is the function, right? So we are going to have square root of t squared plus 9 minus 3, right? And the conjugate will not be what? Because we are rationalizing it. So that will not be what? T squared minus plus 9. Take note that if you are taking conjugate not in the square root, it's outside the square root you are taking the conjugate. Plus what? Plus 3 over t squared times root of t squared plus 9 plus what? 3. Take note of that. Do you understand? So now what do we do to this? If you look at this numerator here, you can see that we are having something like difference of 2 squared. If you look at my previous question, I said a squared plus b squared will give you a plus b. This is the a plus b, then a minus b. This is the a minus b. So you can also convert this into this identity. Do you understand? So which we are going to have what? F of x will be equals to what? Then this, let's say this is representing a and this is representing b. So that will be open bracket square root of t square plus 9 square. Can you see? Minus b, your b is what? 3, which is 3 square over t square open bracket root of t square plus 9 plus 3, right? So that's what you are going to arrive. Then what do you do? Now, if you notice something, this square will cancel this square. It's just like when you have a square root of a, it's still the same thing as a raised to the power of 1 over 2, right? And you are taking the square of square root, then square of square root, this will cancel this. A raised to the power of 1 is what? A. So that's what I did there. Now, so when these are cancelled, we are going to be left with what? Fx will be equals to what? T squared plus 9 minus 3 squared is what? 9, right? That's minus 9 over t squared, open bracket, square root of t squared plus 9 plus 3, right? So 9 minus 9 is what? 0. So you are going to be left with t squared over t squared, open bracket, square root of t squared plus 9, right? Plus 3. So this will cancel this, right? So you will now be left with what? Fx is equals to what? 1 over square root of t squared plus 9 plus what? 3. So this will be the function. So we are now to find the limit of x approaching 0, in this new function. So let's plug it here. Let's plug it here. So we are going to have limit of x approaching 0 of this function here. And the function is what? Limit of x. So we are going to substitute it in the function, which is 1 over square root of what? 0 square, right? Plus 9 plus 3. Then we have 1 over 0, square root of 0 square is what? 0 square is 0 plus 9, which is 9. Then that will be square root of 9 plus 3. And you know that square root of 9 is what? 3. That will be 3 plus 3, which is what? 6. So that will be what? 1 over 6. 3 plus 3 is 6. So that will be the final answer for number 3. Do you understand? So, what's it? So we are going to be doing this number 4 question, and we have loss function of limit of x approaching infinity of the function 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 1 over x cubed plus 2x plus 4. Now, how do we approach this? We are seeing infinity here, and what do you understand by infinity? Infinity are numbers that is continuous, right? We have the negative infinity and we have the positive infinity. But in this case, we state that it's positive infinity. You understand? So, for you to approach this now, there's a rules that follows by this. I'm going to do that in my next video. So do it to follow my channel. So we have limit of x approaching infinity of 1 over x. Whenever this is approaching this, you are going to have what? 0. Right? So we are going to apply it to this. And before we apply it to this, there are some rules I'm going to do. So we have a limit. Let's write the question of x approaching infinity. Then 2x cubed minus 3x squared plus 1 over x cubed plus 2x plus what? 4. Right? So the first thing we are going to do is that you divide it by the highest power. And what's the highest power here? Which is what? X raised to the power of 3. So you divide both the numerator and the denominator by the highest power. So let's do that. We are going to have 2x cubed divided by x cubed minus 3x squared divided by x cubed plus 1 divided by what? X cubed over x cubed divided by what? X cubed plus 2x divided by what? X cubed plus what? 4 divided by what? X cubed. You grab. So what are we going to do? We are going to divide through, right? Then this divided by this will give you x. Then you have 1 over x cubed. This divided by this will give you 1. This here 1. This here what? X squared. Then you have 4x. So let's write the new function. I'm going to have 2 minus 3 over x plus 1 over x cubed over 1 plus 2 over x squared plus 4 over x cubed. Now, I know I said that we have limit of x approaching infinity 1 over x. it will give you 0. So we are going to apply it to this. This is still the same thing as 3 times 1 over x, 1 times 1 over x cubed, 2 times 1 over x squared, and 4 times 1 over x cubed. So this will be 0, 0, 0, 0. So you're now going to have your function as 2 minus 0 plus 0 over 1 plus 0 plus 0. So you're going to have what? 2 minus 0 plus 0 is what? 2. 1. So we are going to have what? 2 minus 0 plus 0, I mean, over 1 plus 0 plus 0. So 2 minus 0 plus 0 is what? That's 2 over 1 plus 0 plus 0 is what? 1. So 2 divided by 1 is what? 2. So that would be the final answer for the question. So here is the 4 question you solved. So you'll do well to follow my video, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube to see more videos like this. Thank you very much. Bye.